Hello and welcome to the Musty Creative Podcast. I'm your host, Jesús. We are the Musty Collective, creators on the journey to better storytelling. Thank you for joining us today, even though it's musty in here. Today we're talking about the Oscars 2025, and Carlos is here. Woo!
How's it going,
Welcome,
everybody?
Carlos.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me back. I mean, not on the podcast, but,
Yes,
back
sir.
in this discussion.
Back in the discussion. Yes, you can catch Carlos on our newsletter at www.mustycreative.com, but also on YouTube, our latest video about Emilia Perez, a full breakdown if you want to hear our thoughts on that. But without further ado, let's start the show. The Oscars happened. We had a different host this year. It was the redheaded guy. I forget. I blanked on his name for a second.
Conan
Conan.
O'Brien.
I want to say Connor, but yes, Conan O'Brien. He did good. His monologue was okay. He threw an Emilia Perez joke. I think everybody was happy about that. But, that was pretty much it. It was very basic. He had some musical numbers. No hate on there. I think the Oscars was a good show this year.
Yeah.
I kind of miss Will Smith.
Me too. Oh, man, that was the most exciting moment.
That was most exciting. Obviously, I hated it at Chris Rock's expense.
No, I'm joking, obviously. I thought that was
No, I'm not joking. I miss Will Smith, but I not at Chris Rock's expense. So
course,
I want Chris Rock to be safe. Maybe you can slap somebody else. But anyways, we'll stay. I won't talk about Jada. Obviously, don't want to get slapped. But let's get into the categories here. Carlos, what was your feeling leaving the show?
I was very satisfied with pretty much most of the results. Obviously we were expecting Emilia Perez to take away some of the awards. I don't want to pile on too much on that movie. I mean, we were fairly, I think, nice about our criticisms in our video. I think compared to a lot of what I've seen. I think we were. Yeah. I think we were fair.
I think we're definitely fair.
So I don't I don't want to just paint Emilia Perez as the villain of the night. But it was nice to see certain awards that I thought it would run away with go to, I thought, more deserving categories. But yeah, I guess to take away that from the conversation, I was happy to see Honora do so well. I think I talked to you about this after the show, after the Oscars. There were probably about 5 movies that were nominated that I would have been perfectly fine if any of them had dominated the night or won Best Picture.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. How about you? How was your feeling overall after the show?
Okay, we're good. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, so my general feeling was I was hot. As I texted you afterwards, I was upset. It was a great year in film. 2024 was a great year in film. So the industry, I think, is actually in a good place. Especially coming out of the pandemic. The quality of films that we got in the Best Picture category have been getting better over the past couple of years. So no more Nomadland kind of foolishness that we've seen before.
I haven't seen it yet. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's a bad film. I'm sorry, Frances McDormand. You shouldn't have won the Best Actress, and the film shouldn't have won. But whatever.
No disrespect on Frances.
No, she's a great actress, but not for
that movie. That's fair.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, my main grudge is Honora winning. I think it won 4 out of 4 wins. Kind of swept the major categories. Best directing, best original screenplay, best editing, best picture, best actress. Yeah. So that's kind of where I left off with the show itself, not with the industry. I think the industry, again, is a healthier place before. Still needs to get the employment situation worked out as far as like the workers are not the actors and the directors and producers. But yeah, I felt good about the show, but very angry about the results.
Very angry, really. I probably liked Nora a lot more than you did, I'm guessing, based on this.
No, I liked it. I think it's a great film. I just didn't want to win so much.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think there are other categories where films were more deserving.
For sure. I was mostly happy with what they won. I mean, Sean Baker winning Best Director, I don't really have as much a problem with it as I've seen others. Obviously, I feel like had he been nominated, Denis would have been probably the most deserving for that award. But of the nominees, I was fine with him winning, or I would have been fine with Brady Corbet, Coralie Farge, or pretty much any of those. I would have been perfectly fine with winning.
Yeah, I definitely think The Brutalist should have won for directing.
Of those, that's the one I was rooting for. But yeah, I'm happy with it.
Well, let's go through some of the categories here, and then we'll get to our rankings at the end. I know everyone's looking forward to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, actor in a leading role, the winner was Adrian Brody, as Musty Creative predicted a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I read that. I didn't read the whole thing, but I looked at that. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Actually, are you happy about that?
Happy because I wrote that. I was even talking to people. I was talking to the Nickel Boys actors about Adrian Brody being the best actor. So for 2024. So I think Hollywood heard me. I was pumping the Adrian Brody good gospel at the AMC's, and so I think everyone heard me, and so that's good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was rooting for Adrian Brody. Because I've only seen 3 of the 5 nominees for Best Actor. I have not seen Coleman, Domingo, and Sing Sing yet.
That's the only one I haven't seen.
Yeah, I really want to see
that.
and
The Apprentice.
And I haven't seen The Apprentice either with Sebastian Stan. So I can't speak on their performances, but of the 3 I've seen, between Ray Fiennes, Adrian Brody, and Timothy Chalamet, for me it was very clear Adrian. If it was Timothy for Dune, I think it'd be a slightly different conversation there.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Let the Messiah win.
I thought he was great as Bob Dylan, but I felt like he was doing so much more in Dune than he was in that movie. Just to be honest, I liked his singing. I think he did a pretty good job replicating the voice for the most part, but like
I hate it all.
Yeah, see, like, I think that's fair. Like, I think,
and I'm a Timothée Chalamet lover, so I'm not. This role for me, like he was great in Willy Wonka last year. Okay. This role for me was not it.
Not it. That's fair. Because I mean, I still agree with you. Yeah, he should have been nominated for Dune. But yeah, of the 3, easily. I mean, Ray Fiennes I thought was also very, very good in Conclave. Excuse me.
Very good. It's a more subdued role, so that's I feel like that's harder sometimes in the male category because of societal norms.
Yeah.
But
that's what I loved about it as well. His character as well was the most interesting in that movie to me. The most nuanced performance as well. Very subtle. So yeah, I would have been happy with him winning, but I was definitely rooting for Adrian. I thought he just disappeared into that role in The Brutalist, genuinely.
And honestly, after that scene in the mines in Italy, I mean, I gotta give it to the man. I mean, that was just like, and that leads me to my next category: actor in a supporting role. Mm-hmm. I know that Kieran Culkin, everyone's in love with him, and he's a great actor. But how do you not give it to Guy Pearce? How do you not give it to Guy Pearce at all?
Again. This was a tough one for me. I didn't catch A Real Pain. I meant to catch it yesterday before we recorded, but I forgot. So from what I've seen, it looks like more of what we've seen from him already in Succession. I hope I'm wrong and that it's a little bit more, a little bit different.
Same character.
So I'm curious to see it.
And to be honest, I would have nominated Jesse Eisenberg instead because from what I remember from watching Real Pain, it was Jesse Eisenberg's scene towards the end of the film that really, like, he's the one giving us that perspective on Kieran Culkin's character. Mm-hmm. And to me, I had not seen Jesse Eisenberg in that kind of moment before.
Gotcha.
So that was my analysis. But Hollywood's in love with Kieran. It's probably the production company where they're like, we probably have a better chance for getting a win if it's Kieran just because he has the sway.
Yeah.
But I thought Jesse Eisenberg was amazing. Now. Yeah, he's very hot. The fact that he acted, he directed, and he also wrote.
He wrote it. Yeah.
That was just a wonderful performance right there.
Nice. Yeah. Let's go with. So from the performances I've seen from that category, who was nominated? It was Guy Pearce.
Yura Borisov from Menorah.
And
Edward Norton.
Okay, yeah. This one.
And Jeremy Strong from The Apprentice.
Again, I need to watch that because I've heard nothing but good things about the acting in that movie.
Yeah, I need
The
to
Apprentice. But for me, of those 3, so easily Guy Pearce. His performance,
and the thing that sucks is I don't think he's ever gonna get another shot like that again.
Yeah, hopefully other directors see him in that and give him some meaty roles that he could potentially win for. But I know what you're saying because this should have been his year, but Kieran's hot. I think Jeremy Strong would have probably been runner-up as well, just because of people love him too.
I am the eldest boy. Like, give him some love, Hollywood. Like, he's always losing to Kieran. Like, even with Succession, in the Golden Globes, like he's losing to he's losing to Kieran like all the time.
Yeah, give him some love. But Guy Pearce in The Brutalist, man, very intense performance.
Yeah,
I thought he was hilarious in the first scene and terrifying in the last.
So like, man, and then the way he had his character disappeared, like just gone.
Yeah.
Right after the accusation came out.
Yeah.
Right.
Brilliant way to show that character and what they represent and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like, who do you think you are is taking on a whole different meaning now to me in my mind.
Oof.
Like,
yeah. That whole scene was so good. Was
yeah.
so
I mean, I'm sitting there in the theater with Michelle, and we're just like, that's not gonna happen. No. Wait, what?
Oh.
Like,
I know, that's how I felt. I was like, wait, are we going? Oh, we're going there, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Mercy. Whew. Anyways, I mean, that's a whole nother topic. There's a whole nother topic
we could talk about Brutalist for like 5 hours, I'm sure.
Yeah. Actors are the leading role. So this is where it gets dicey for me. Yeah, but I'll let you go first.
Okay. This one. So let's go through the nominees. Right, there's Mikey Madison, Fernanda Torres, Demi Moore, Cynthia Erivo, and
Carla Sofia Gascon.
Okay. All right. So it's a 4-horse race here. Genuinely, I would kick out Carla Sofia Gascon and replace her with Zendaya in Challengers. I would have done that.
I'm surprised she didn't get a nomination.
Yeah.
But
you do. So anyway, this is a tough one because those 4 that I mentioned first.
Fernanda Torres was strong, man.
For me, it's more of a 3-horse race. I thought Cynthia Erivo was wonderful in Wicked. Mm-hmm. I'm just not like a huge fan of that movie, and I felt like the character. It's a very fun musical performance, and I can appreciate it, but it's not my pick. Just personally.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Of the 3 that I would have gone with, I'm fine with Mikey Madison winning. I would have been fine with Fernanda or Demi winning as well. My pick would have probably been. I would have probably picked Mikey as well. I was happy with seeing her win personally.
Yeah, she did great. Nothing to take away from her. My thing with Demi is I think Margaret Qualley did so much work as well that it's hard for me to give Demi the leading role win.
Sure, co-leads.
I'm fine with the nomination. Yeah, co-leads, but I'd still lean on Margaret Qualley because we spent a lot of time with her, and she's really pushing the plot forward because of her selfishness, her character's selfishness, in my opinion. So it's like, Demi's kind of really along for the ride. Once she starts the substance, she's kind of along for the ride, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. So I think if I was Demi's agent, I would have wanted prosthetics and AI deepfake to do the Margaret Qualley scenes. I know that's unpopular to say, but just to give Demi more room to work, right? Then just handing off to an actual younger actress, which is the whole point of the film, right?
Yeah. I get what you're saying from like the age and like from Demi's perspective. Artistically and fundamentally, completely disagree with that idea. Though.
No, I get it. And Margaret Qualley was amazing. So, but let's going to Anora, right? So Mikey Madison carries the whole film for the most part, right? I do think she is kind of subdued once the kidnapping happens. My thing with Cynthia is that she did such a phenomenal job, and I know that musicals don't get much love, so I'm surprised she even got nominated in the first place. But like the fact that she was the lead, she carried the film throughout the entire way. She did choreography, she sang. When you do all 3 of those, when you're acting, singing, and dancing, to me you're a triple threat, and you're doing way more than anybody else is in any of your in your category, right? And then you're also the lead on top of that. And then her scenes are just like so dramatic, and it's a different performance than what we've seen. Like the last film I saw her in was why am I blanking? Sojourner of Truth. Why am I blanking? Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
So, and that's a much different performance, right? And she is doing something different. And again, I don't, just like with Guy Pearce, I don't know when she's going to get another role like that people are going to see her do her work.
I think there's plenty that she can take. Like you said, she's such a triple threat. There's so much she can do. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many like directors who can find something. And to your point, I completely understand where you're coming from, because that's like, I agree. Like that's why I have so much respect for theater and like Broadway stars. Even though I'm not a huge fan
For sure.
personally, I have the most respect in the world for those performers because of everything that they're doing. And so Cynthia Erivo comes from that background, and she's clearly extremely talented. Her performance is great. It's more than just impressive because of everything she's doing. She does show she shows she's capable of like so much expression with her, like just with her facial expressions, right?
Exactly.
And communicating so much with those. Just for me, why she wasn't my pick, it's one of those where I respect the performance a lot, but I just connected more with the other three that I would have put ahead of her, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, no, and that makes sense, right? Like going to Mikey's performance, and that's why I'm not mad if she really got it in the end, because I don't know when she's going to get another role like that personally, right? Like Hollywood has this thing about young talent that it just refuses to give them enough opportunities. Like, again, looking at Zendaya, for instance, right? Like, and then when they get opportunities, do they even get the recognition?
Yeah.
So I'm happy for her. I just wasn't taken away from that role, but she was, as you said before about another person, like she did fully get into that character, and I like fully believe the performance. Like she was just a sex worker to me, and she was kind of just there. Again, my thing though is that as a lead, her character is not driving the plot of the film. And there's a particular moment in the film, this is what I want to discuss with you about Honora. There's a particular part of the film where I believe in Sean Baker's writing, he could have made Annie or Honora like the driving part of the film. And that's when she's standing outside the plane, and the boy's mother comes to her and says, "Get on the plane." And she says, "No." And she says, "I'm going to sue you and him because I didn't sign a prenup." And I was like clapping. I was literally like, "You go, girl. You get them and you sue the behinds." Yeah. And then there's like a weak threat by the mother. Personally, I think a weak threat, because she's an American citizen. You don't have any jurisdiction here. You're not really a mob boss, whatever. So, and then she gets the cut, and then she's on the plane. And then from that point on, again, she's being drug along by these other characters. So because she's not driving the story forward as a character, because she's not really carrying it in the sense of like an actual lead actress would do. Like I look at like the performance in Tar from Cate Blanchett like a year or two ago. I look at Viola Davis in The Woman King, like really driving it forward, and we the audience are seeing this story through your eyes. I didn't really get that, except for, and I'll give the film this, is the final scene. Mm-hmm. The final scene was just kind of everything for me.
Okay. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I think there's a difference between being a lead actress and playing a very strong female character. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like those specific examples you brought up, they're very active characters. Not to say that Honora isn't, she's trying to be, but just inherently based on her role in society, she's not given that opportunity. So like that scene where she's supposed to go on board, I agree. I thought, very crowd-pleasing moment when she says, "I'm going to sue you." You think, yeah, you didn't sign a prenup, so you can sue them. But the thing is, as much as we like to imagine that that's how things work, this is like a Russian oligarchy we're looking at. This family, they're billionaires. They could bury this woman. Who does she have? Like what legal team would really realistically win her case against them, who probably have would have a massive team that would just bury her? That's for me how I read it, and how I was like, it's just like she's just fighting like this ridiculous uphill battle, and that's summed up by the ending, where it's like it's just this piling on of her, where like the first time she's shown kindness, her reaction is to like
pay them back,
as like in the way she knows because of her job. she's shown these acts of kindness by this one guy, and the things she does, she repays him, sexually. Right. And then it's like she has that moment where she's like, "This is all my life is." Like I had that moment where I could have been swept away, been secure forever, but I'm back at square one. You know what I mean? That's how I read it. Maybe there's like
no, yeah.
And that's what, and I really felt that from her performance. Personally.
No, I definitely did. That's a super good point. I guess I would say that's why we have Trump's America, right? Americans are never supposed to lose ever again, so we shouldn't be afraid. But again, we're in Trump's America, so maybe he would favor the Russian oligarchs. So
yeah.
So yeah,
Bro's legal team bought him the presidency. Like, come on. He's a convicted felon, and he's in office. He's ruling over us now, King Trump.
Right. Oh man, no, that's a super good point. Again, not mad. I really wanted for Cynthia, and I thought it would be her year. But
yeah, fair.
Anyway,
she's great. Yeah. I love her. She's amazing. She's an amazing actor.
Yeah, actress in a supporting role. Nominees.
Oh boy, I have some thoughts on this one.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so nominees: Zoe Saldana, Monica Barbaro from A Complete Unknown, which I completely forgot about, so I was surprised she got a nomination. Ariana Grande from Wicked, Felicity Jones from The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini, again, forgot about her as well in Conclave. This is where I think Margaret Qualley should have been nominated as well.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would have taken that Monica Barbaro and put Margaret Qualley in there probably. No offense to Monica. I thought she was great as Joan Baez.
It was such a small role.
But yeah, I don't think she was doing like that much, crazy in it. But very good performance still.
It was a good performance, yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
Oof. Okay, so this one's a tough one. On the one hand, I'm very happy for Zoe Saldana. She seems genuinely very happy to win the award, very proud to win it. I liked what she had to say on the stage when she won. I thought it was very sweet, very uplifting. She was definitely not my choice to win. Having said all of that,
who was your choice?
Don't get me wrong. I don't think she's bad. I think she's easily the highlight performance-wise of Emilia Perez. I think we both kind of agreed about that, right?
Yeah.
And I had no problem really with her being nominated. I probably would have still nominated maybe not. Maybe Zendaya in Dune, but I don't know. Zoe's doing quite a bit in that movie. I'll give her credit.
For sure.
But my choice was Felicity Jones with Ariana Grande right behind her.
Okay.
Both of those I would have been fine with winning. Zoe Saldana, whatever. That's the strongest I honestly feel about any of the categories. Most of them, I'm pretty much on board with most of the wins, at least for the movies that I've seen.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And even this one, I'm kind of like, no big deal.
I just thought Zoe again triple act, and she was the best part of the film. Yeah. And she shined in a film that should not even been nominated for Best Picture, in my opinion. So I just really give it to her. It's just with her nominees, but if she was going against Zendaya in Dune Part 2, I would have given it to Zendaya. Yeah. Or to be honest, like Ariana Grande in Wicked was amazing. She surprised everybody. Yeah. But then do you want to give a career musical artist an Oscar? Oscar? That's kind of hard. So yeah, Felicity Jones and Brutus would have been 5 for me too. Going back to lead actress for a quick second, I almost forgot about this performance. Civil War, Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, you would have nominated her?
Yeah, I definitely would have nominated her in that category. So that's just another one. I just want to mention her, give her some love. Yeah, because
I love Kirsten Dunst.
I'm not usually a big fan of hers, but she was great in Civil War. I thought she was great in Civil War. But yeah, I have no problem. I just think the nominees for actress in a supporting role, like Isabella Rossellini, she has again a small role, and I'm just like, why are you even being nominated? I don't get it sometimes.
Yeah, I thought she was great in the movie, but she's not like it didn't blow me away, her performance.
I think she has like
3
lines. Yeah,
she's like 3 moments where she has she gets to do some acting, but most
and most of it's like, you can't do that, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are like, I want to do this. Like, no, leave her alone. Like, okay.
That's pretty much honestly.
Yeah, I know she was great. But yeah. So another category I'm really invested in, animated feature film.
Oh, okay.
I'm always lamenting the fact that animation goes second. And they just kind of like, oh, here it is, wrap it up, and then send them off their way, and let's get back to the grown-up stuff.
Yes, yeah, it's so lame. It's so
yeah.
lame.
But the Hollywood, Hollywood is actually paying attention to animation and picked Flow.
I know, very surprising.
That was wild. Either that was a punch in the face to Disney
and
DreamWorks. Yeah, or they were actually like, you know what? I think animation has something to say here this year.
I don't have a ton of thoughts on this one. Flow is the only one I've seen. I haven't seen Inside Out or Wild Robot, Memoirs of a Snail. I haven't seen them yet. So yeah, I don't have too many. I just wanted to say one thing. I really did think Wild Robot would take it. And even though, like, again, I can't say that I think the one who deserved it won, I do like the fact that an animated film using entirely visual storytelling won. Like, no dialogue. I love that. I think that's awesome. But
and I believe it's independent, too, which is also which is very cool. And
very low budget.
First win for Latvia, I think, as a country.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome.
Very nice. Very, very cool. So, but how about you? You said you're very invested. What was who was your pick to win it?
Yeah, so I still need to finish. I'm in the middle of Wallace and Gromit, and then Memoir of a Snail. I have them both ready to go. There's so much to watch this year.
Definitely.
But for me, it was going to be Inside Out 2. And I know people are on the Disney hating train, but if you watch, Carl's pointing to himself. But if you watch the movie, and I rewatched the Wild Robot, and I rewatched Inside Out 2 like a couple weeks ago. I actually watched the Wild Robot twice in theaters. But my main thing is that Inside Out 2 is actually a better film than Inside Out 1.
Okay.
And I believe Inside Out 1 won the year it came out, right? So it actually took the Oscars. So if it's already better than its predecessor in many different ways, then I see it as being the film that would win in pretty much any animation, any year of animation. Like, it's just a really tough film. Go ahead.
Would you have also given the award to Inside Out 1 if it was nominated amongst this specific group of nominees? Like, if like this year was the year Inside Out 1 had come out,
that's a
and
great
it was
question.
going to go up against them, would you still give it to Inside Out 1?
No, so I would give it to the Wild Robot. Okay. I personally think the third act of Inside Out 1 is like weak.
Okay. I can actually agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, that's when I start crying, I start bawling out. I'm like,
oh, you know what? Actually, I disagree. I did like the third act now that I remember it, but I have to rewatch it. It's been a while.
Yeah, so that's where Riley, she gets fed up, and the emotions can't control her anymore.
Yeah,
she runs away, gets on a bus.
Yeah,
and then she starts crying. They let sadness, decompress her, and then she gets off the bus and returns home.
Yeah.
My problem is with that, right?
Okay. Go ahead.
She's completely unscathed. Like, no one tries to kidnap her. No one tries to harm her. She doesn't get a scratch. She just, returns home. No consequences.
That's too much conflict. It's all about the inner conflict. Adding the external conflict would have made it convoluted to me.
No. If I was directing that movie, Riley would have ended up in a ditch.
That's right. Hey man, it would have been more crazy and more exciting. I'll give you that.
that. But Inside Out 2, the work that they did with anxiety and how the whole reception to anxiety was just tremendous all around the world. To me, that message just spoke loud and true, right? Like, it just spoke loud and true. Like, we could all relate to Riley's anxiety, seeing that in all of us, and having those breakdowns and having to recover, and how you deal with that, and how you get the tools to handle anxiety in your life. So
gotcha.
I just thought it was such a powerful message. Great acting on all sides, great writing on all sides. So it would have been my thing. But if you read Musty Creative today, Michelle's piece on Flow is a wonderful film. So I'm not mad that it won. But again, it wasn't my pick. And so it looks like I have to proclaim the gospel louder at AMC's so that producers and directors hear me when they vote. At some point, I'll be invited to the Academy to vote at some point. But at this point, not right now.
Awesome. Let them know about your buddy Carlos so I can get some screeners.
Yes, I will. Well, Carlos, we got to get you an AMC A-list membership.
Gotta get you. I definitely, I think I might do that this year, depending on, budgetary reasons.
Join us, Carlos.
Yeah, I do because I really I've been on a movie kick this year, man. I've seen about like nearly 40 films this year. Not in theaters, obviously, but just movies that I hadn't seen before.
Right.
So
the A-list pays for itself, and this is not an A-list ad, but it pays for itself. It pays for itself.
Brought to you by AMC. No.
Yes. Well, let's go through some shoulds here. So, and then let me know what you think about this, Carlos. I'm going to say should. Dune should have 1 cinematography and music original score. Agree or disagree?
Disagree with musical score. I could get down with cinematography though.
Okay. Why do you disagree with musical score?
Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. Hans Zimmer's done some great work. Personally, I would prefer the Brutalist score. I really like the music in that movie. I thought it was fantastic.
Okay. And I will say the caveat to all this is that Dune Part 2 didn't qualify for music original score because it didn't have enough original music.
Meanwhile, John Williams qualifies every time he recycles all of his famous scores for Indiana Jones 5.
Bro,
Star Wars,
chillax.
Star Wars.
Chillax.
What is it? Revenge of Skywalker, whoever.
No. We're not doing John Williams slander.
Man, I love John Williams, bro, but he did not deserve to be nominated for Indiana Jones 5.
He won actually that year for Indiana Jones 5.
No, he did.
That's
not.
beautiful.
That's
he
crazy.
did.
No,
he did.
Wasn't it the same year as Oppenheimer? There's no way that it beat Oppenheimer.
It won. I'm gonna
no chance.
Bro, I'm gonna check it right now.
There's
no
chance, bro.
We're doing a live check.
If it came out the same year as Oppenheimer won, and it deserved to win.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna do a live check here, and Carlos is gonna find out. Oh, okay, you're right. Oppenheimer won.
There you go. I knew it.
You're right. That's right. Because it was Ludwig Göransson. That's right. He never loses.
Yeah.
But Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was nominated.
It was nominated. Yes.
It was nominated. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that was a tangent. I don't want to hate John Williams. I love John Williams. He's the GOAT.
Don't hate.
I'm just being honest. Spider-Verse deserved a nomination for score over Indiana Jones.
Oh. No. Actually, what I'm going to take out is either Poor Things or American Fiction. That's what I'm going to take out of that year.
Oh,
that was a good year, though.
Yeah.
It was Oppenheimer, American Fiction, Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, Kills of the Flower Moon, and Poor Things. So, yeah.
Cool. Anyway, sorry. We're talking about Dune. Should it have won score or cinematography? You think it should have won both?
I think it should have won both. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Brutalist should have won, and I talked about this earlier, directing.
Yeah, I would. That was probably my number 1 pick for directing in that category. Anora maybe number 2. Who else? Okay, who else was nominated again? Are we gonna go through that right now, or are we still doing the shoulds right now?
No, we're doing shoulds, but it's about the directing category. So let me.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
I'll pull it up right here for you. So yeah, Nora won, but it was The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Amelia Perez, and The Substance. Again, I'm not a hater of James Mangold, but he should not have been nominated.
Absolutely, I agree with you. He should not have been nominated for that.
No.
Easily kick him out for Denis. Easily, and kick out Jacques for Ramel Ross
for Amelia Perez.
For Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys absolutely deserve to be nominated for best directing.
No, that's fair. Yeah, put in Nickel Boys and put in Denis. Like I don't understand. Easily. I don't understand sometimes. Like it was not bad directing, but that first
But it's not exceptional.
It's not exceptional, and that first act was a struggle, bro.
For Amelia Perez or for
for Amelia Perez.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah. And just like what I liked about Nickel Boys is just like it was also experimental, but it still made sense from a story perspective.
Yeah, and it was completely intentional and purposeful, like I'm talking about the cinematography, but the direction. It's like
the direction
so many bold choices, and it really paid
great.
Off in the end.
I agreed. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, that was a pretty whack, collection. No, not most of them are good. I would have still nominated Sean Baker. Oh, you know what? I might even take Sean Baker out for Luca Guadagnino for Challengers. Personally, I thought he.
Yeah, so I haven't seen Challengers.
He did a great job directing that movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, that's the only problem. You get the movie out early in the year. You get all the major box office, but then people forget about you towards the end.
Yeah. It's a shame, but what can you do?
Yeah. Okay. Then next here, The Substance should have won for editing.
Okay, I could totally see that. I really liked the editing in Anora. I thought it was interesting. especially loved like certain cuts during like the sex scenes. I thought were really creative.
Mm.
The substance, though, I can't argue against. I would have been happy if that won best editing as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an energetic movie. It's it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean the part where like Baba Yaga shows up, she comes out the door,
Oh
and
man.
he's like, "Sue," it's like,
Yeah.
like,
Oh man. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the substance had some really great editing. Actually, would have been happy with that winning. But yeah, either one, I'm fine with.
yeah. So this, I mean, this leads me to like a larger topic. Again, let me know if you want to have it or not. But we've talked about this before slightly, but my theme with Honora is, and also with the win for Mikey Madison, and this goes to other stuff too, like Halle Berry winning for Monster Ball. Like, do women just win? And I guess for Poor Things last year, do women just win if they're in sex scenes?
No.
And I know this. I know it's not fully true, but it seems like sometimes like we ignore the performances of other women when they keep their clothes on, and when women have a great performance but also take their clothes off, it's like there we go, automatic win.
I can't obviously speak for all of the Academy voters. I have no idea like what goes through their mind when they decide. I don't.
And I want to make it clear too. I'm not blaming the women because all these films are written and directed by men. So
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. I see what you're saying. I can totally read it that way. Personally, though, I don't really think about that. I don't think about the nudity too much whenever I watch these movies. That's why I'm always so surprised to hear discourse about like when Oppenheimer came out and people were saying the Florence Pugh scene was so unnecessary and whatever.
I forgot about that scene.
That's like subjective, but for me, it's not something I think about just because. I guess I see sex as very not as like taboo as a lot of people when I see it. It's just a normal human thing that everybody experiences. So seeing it in the movie is the same as like, I don't know, seeing people do anything intimate together. And like it depends on how it's portrayed artistically. Obviously, there can be gratuitous nudity, gratuitous sex.
Poor Things.
Yeah, Oh, that's a whole other discussion. About Poor
But
Things.
I say that in good taste because like I'm slowly coming around to what you're saying about the artistic idea to the idea that it is natural, right? And people do have it. So it's hard to tell a story about sex workers without featuring sex.
Yeah.
But yes, continue your point.
No, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much more I have to add. I just like. As far as like the performances go, do I think that they're winning mostly because they're willing to be naked? No, I think that that's just maybe a correlation that people have noticed, that you've noticed. I don't know if it has that much to do with them winning, but I guess I could see it. I could see voters seeing that choice as like very brave and vulnerable, and maybe that adds to why they enjoyed the performance. I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sense.
No, that makes sense.
Like, it's not how I would vote personally, but maybe that's how I might read it.
Right. My theme with Nora is that like half the movie is that part, right? Is the sex, and then when you get to the point where, her and her husband get confronted by the guardians that his parents have set above him. To me, that's when the story actually begins.
Yeah.
And that's when the movie begins, and so. Then in the second half of the movie, she's very subdued, except obviously she's fighting the guy and stuff, which that to me, if she won because of those scenes, then I could see why she won. Because she really, like from a physical acting standpoint, was like amazing.
Yeah.
But after that, like after she gets subdued, that's pretty much it for her. Again, like because in my opinion, Sean Baker didn't give her the choice as a character to take on the oligarch family. I know from a realistic standpoint, you can't take on oligarchs, but these are the movies. These are fantasy. Like, I'm not saying she should have won, but I would have loved for her to screw that family a little bit more. But yeah. So again, then I look at something like The Brutalist. No, sorry. What I want to win for? My bad. For film editing, The Substance. And like there are sex scenes in there too, not as gratuitous, right? But there's more like gratuitous nudity in the film. But to me, it all serves a purpose
grotesque nudity more. Like, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, you ain't lying. But, like, it all serves a purpose for, like, commenting on what society, men, like, you know, value as far as women's bodies.
Yeah.
And what women have to go through, especially in Hollywood, to try to keep up with the times. Where like, Dennis Quaid is just walking around looking like, you know, he barfed out, like, lobster skin or something. And
he's constantly sweaty and gross.
Yeah, and he's fine to keep working in Hollywood, right? So, like, that's the dynamism of the Substance. And so I just think the editing was just way better, but then Sean Baker wins for Nora. I just help me make sense. Help me make sense about this, Carlos.
I think Nora has some pretty creative editing in it, and honestly, I don't know. This is one of those I'm not like that passionate about the win. I kind of agree with you. I would have liked to see something like The Substance win this one. I think that it's a much more exciting movie, and they're both similar lengths. I feel like The Substance felt a lot faster than Nora. Like, I felt like it went by quicker. Maybe not quicker, but, like, I guess I was more engaged with that movie the whole way through than Nora, even if I found Nora more powerful by the end.
Yeah, I mean, again, that ending of Nora is just super powerful.
Yeah.
Not as powerful as the Substance ending. I just think, like, I go back to a scene in The Substance where Demi is, like, you know, she's mad that Sue has taken more of her body away from her. And then Sue's on the interview on the television, and Demi's character is just like, was it something Sparkle, right?
Yeah, I can't remember.
And she's just like cooking, right? But she's like, "Oh, tell him where you got your, beauty from. Tell him." And then she's the hopes of is like, "Tell him this is where you got it from."
Just cracking eggs, all right? Is that the same thing?
Yeah. No, there's so many good choices, right? And we're watching Sue's interview along with Sparkle, right? Mm-hmm. So. Again, just choices of how we experience it. I just really good, really good.
No, I'm with you, because I was just thinking right now, like if I can, as far as like to make sense why Nora won. I think that the Academy, they really like movies with a lot of editing, with a lot of hyperactive cutting. And not to say that Nora is really like that, but especially the beginning, there's so many montages.
That's fair.
And like cutting from there's like inserting, like, they'll have like very romantic, like almost rom-com shots of the two like hugging and kissing, intercut with like very blunt sex scenes, and then go back to like the romantic fairy tale looking shot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fair.
So I like choices like that, and I can see like them looking at that and being like, that's the editing of the year, like just those choices. But
yeah, the color grading and lighting choices, and then the fisheye lenses choices in The Substance. Mm-hmm. Michelle had this line where she said it kind of felt like it was teetering on like Oscar-worthy film and then student film at the same time.
For Nora?
For The Substance.
The Substance, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, I could kind of see that, because there's certain choices that are made early on, and I was like, why are they doing that?
Sure.
But the Nora was very consistent. And to credit to Sean Baker's directing, a lot of scenes early on between Annie and then the guy, I keep forgetting his name, felt very like natural, like an awkward rich boy talking to a sex worker.
Yeah, like
everything felt realistic, and I really enjoyed that, and also to Mikey's performance as well. I will say too, like, even though I brought up the whole sex thing, what I did like about this film, I'm not a Sean Baker fan, but what I like about this film is the reality that he places us in, and he doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Yes.
And so, to me, this is a good film, a great cautionary tragedy story, cautionary tale, as well, as far as like, you know, jumping into a relationship that's not really grounded in like a strong foundation, right? Putting all your hopes and dreams. And to me, I learned a lot, like that. Again, having not experienced the sex worker world, I learned a lot from their stories through the lens of Sean Baker. So, props to Nora.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the Nora a lot. Very minor issues with it, but I don't have much to add, to be honest.
No, for sure. But if you like the continued conversation of Nora, we're gonna one more category here before we get to our ranking. A Real Pain should have won writing original screenplay. You agree or disagree?
I have to abstain. I have not seen A Real Pain yet. So I cannot say that it deserved it. Nora won it. That one screenplay. It was nominated up against what was
The Brutalist,
Brutalist,
A Real Pain, December 5, which I really need to go and see, and then The Substance.
The Substance. As much as I would have liked to see The Substance win, I don't think it deserves screenplay. I think that it's a very, very obvious like message, and it's not even trying to be subtle. And I think most of that movie rides on the direction and like the style and the performances.
I do think the dialogue was pretty good, though.
Yeah, dialogue was really good, for sure. Very funny, very engaging dialogue. I didn't mind seeing a Nora win, but I haven't seen Real Pain or September 5. I would have been fine with Brutalist winning as well, though.
For sure. Yeah, I think you do make a good point, right? Like, Nora is subtle and subdued about the messaging that is coming across. A Real Pain is a little more on the nose, I guess. Like the dialoguing between the characters, how natural, like, because it's not just Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, but there's like a cadre of characters that are in the mix here, and I thought just everything again felt natural in their discussions and interactions with each other. So again, just I'm a fan of A Real Pain, so nice. I'm gonna keep pushing it.
I still gotta watch it. I'll say one thing actually. One more thing about Nora. My only real issue, like, I mean, besides, it took me a while to really start getting into the movie. Like you said, that whole home invasion kind of scene. That's when the movie really clicked for me, and I was in from then on.
Yes.
It took a little bit, but besides that, the issue that really took me out of the movie was actually that mom character, Yvonne's mom, her mother-in-law. I felt the way she played that character was a little too over the top for the tone the movie was going for.
Oh, she was the worst performer of the entire movie.
Yeah, like I really loved how all the other characters, like the Armenian guys who are like looking after him, they felt so much more natural as those like comedic relief characters. And when she showed up, I get what they're going for with the whole Cinderella analog and like how she's very much like the evil stepmother in that moment, and she's playing it up very hammy. To me, though, I feel like she should have been a little bit more like in tone with the rest of the characters, and instead of like gleefully telling her how they would destroy Honora how they would like destroy her, I would have preferred if she had told her all of this in a much more cold and like detached way, where she's just like, look, it doesn't matter. We have so much money. We can destroy you. We can make sure that you lose all this stuff. But she's hamming it up in that scene, and it didn't work for me.
No, that's true. Like the dad at the end when he's just laughing.
I thought that was funny, but yeah,
that was hilarious. He was good. He was a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. But
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, that's my last thoughts on Honora.
I agree with you on that. And with that, we get to the ranking. So Carlos, you want to do Best Picture, but also just what we thought were the best films of 2024. Yeah. What do you want to do first?
I think we should just look at the Best Picture first, and then go into what we would have nominated.
Okay. So for Best Picture, it is Nora, obviously won, and then The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked.
I have a feeling we'll have quite different lists, I think.
Yes.
I think they'll start off. No, never mind. I don't. We'll see. You want to go first, or do you want me to?
Yes, go first? I'll go first. So, and this is the order going from worst to best.
All right, cool.
So, Complete Unknown is the worst. On the list for.
Okay.
I don't think it should have been nominated.
Gotcha. Fair.
Emilia Perez also I think should not have been nominated, but I think it's slightly better.
Wow, interesting. Go ahead. Yeah.
Just because I think it's bolder. It's bolder.
I think that's totally fair. Fair.
Yeah. Nickel Boys. So I definitely think it should have been nominated. This is controversial, but and I asked the actors this when I met them.
You met them?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Wow. When I saw them and I was like preaching the good gospel of Adrian Brody, I was literally saying it to the actors.
Oh my goodness,
of Nickel Boys.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Don't worry. No, it's all good. But I was telling them because I hadn't seen their film yet, but I was like, I'm gonna go see it, and it was like, is this another African American tragedy in America, where I'm gonna feel bad about the past?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Not kind of, but not quite because of the perspective. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm open to a new perspective. And I watched it, and I literally broke down in the theater crying. For like 20 straight minutes. I was literally the last person in the theater. I'm sobbing. I'm like cleaning my face off. Great twist at the end, right? With the Turner thing. That was amazing. And it's a wonderful film, but it's just like I am sometimes a little tired of the brutality of like. Yeah,
I completely understand what you're.
Again, I haven't lived those moments, but talking to my parents, talking to my other family members, knowing that we have, we're slaves on my dad's side, it's just like. I want a new story at some point, but I don't want to take that away from film. It's still a Best Picture nomination, and I talked to other people, they would put up higher. So, it's a wonderful film. Then I have Anora next, so that's 6. Then Conclave, I'm Still Here, Wicked, The Brutalist, The Substance, and Dune Part 2 as my number 1.
Part 2. Sorry, can you repeat those last 3 one more time?
Yes, my top 3 are The Brutalist, The Substance, Dune Part 2.
Wow, I'm very surprised to hear you love The Substance so much.
I didn't think I was going to love it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to rewatch it because it's so grotesque. It's so grotesque. I don't want to rewatch it.
Okay. I'm so sorry, Jesus. I got momentarily distracted. Where were I'm Still Here and Wicked in your list? Were they number?
I'm Still Here is 5. Wicked is 4.
Okay. And Conclave, was that below
6.
those? 6. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Nora was 7.
Got you. All right. Yeah, that's a fairly different list, honestly. Even more different than I think I thought, and similar in some ways. All right. I'm kind of the thing about me and lists and rankings is it changes like every day. I was looking at it right now because I wrote this down like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I felt differently as I looked at it right now. So I was like, I got to rearrange it a tiny bit.
That's totally fine. These films were great. It was a really good year.
Yes. Very good. Yeah, I was even thinking about it when I first saw the nominations that came out. I hadn't seen like most of them, and I hadn't seen very many 2024 movies, but I thought, man, none of these would make my top 10 except for like Dune, or, you know what I mean? But then I watched them all, and 5 of the Best Picture nominees are in my top 5 favorites of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, great year. But yeah, I guess I'll go through my list from worst to best. Predictable, but at the bottom is Emilia Perez.
Yeah,
just did not vibe with this. I found it boring, clunky, just awkward, unfunny. I didn't like any of the music. And the performances ranged from awful to pretty good.
Selena Gomez.
Terrible.
Mercy.
Sorry.
She's got to go back to school.
Yeah, I will agree. It's very bold, and I do like the look of the movie for the most part.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much as far as my praise goes. I thought it was just a slog to get through.
That ending was rough.
The ending was unintentionally funny.
But I've never watched a film that I disliked where I said the second act was amazing. And the second act, for the most part, was just amazing. Like everything in Mexico, I'd rewatch again.
Okay. That's fair. Oh, boy. So at number 9 is Wicked.
Bro, you got to stop hating. Stop hating, bro.
I don't hate Wicked. I think these nominees, the only one I would call a bad film is Emilia Perez. That's the only one I'd call a bad film.
Okay.
Wicked, I enjoyed. I thought it was good. oh my gosh.
I know you don't like musicals, but bro, it's so good.
I don't hate musicals, but this movie made me realize I don't like most of them. It all comes down to personal preference. I just did not like the music in this movie. I don't think it's bad like in Emilia Perez, but it's just not my thing. It's not my taste. I don't go back and listen to a single song from Wicked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. What's it called? But I'll say some positives. Again, the performances, amazing.
Yes.
I really, really liked the main characters in the movie. The 2 leads,
Glinda and
Elphaba. Excellent protagonists for them, or protagonist deuterogamous, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Excellent characters, I thought. I was like constantly curious like where their story was going up until the Jonathan Bailey character shows up, where I completely checked out of the movie for a good half hour.
I wasn't a fan of his performance. I've seen the play. But I was not a fan of Jonathan Bailey's performance, actually.
Yeah.
As Prince Fiero or whatever.
He was completely fine at playing the most uninteresting character possible.
Agreed.
Didn't care.
Agreed.
Loved the ending, though. Loved how it ended. The story
Yeah.
got significantly more interesting in the third act. I hate the look of this movie. I think it's so visually dull and bland and lifeless. There's a couple of
lifeless.
There's a handful of sequences that I really like the look of the movie. There's one scene, I don't remember any of the songs, I'm sorry, but there's one scene that's lit by a lot of like pink lights. The room's lit by a lot of pink lights, and I think that scene looks really nice. There's so many scenes that I'm looking at the environment, and it's like a gray sky with like a dead patch of grass that they're singing like a love ballad on.
John Chu. He doesn't speak for me. Let Carlos is speaking for himself. I love your work, bro.
I did not like John Chu's work in this film. I didn't hate it. I should say that. I think he does a good job directing a lot of the sequences, but just flatlined for me. This one didn't really love it.
Man, when Carlos rips into a film, he rips into a film. I respect your opinion, bro.
Sorry,
I respect your opinion.
I wanted to love it because I heard so many good things.
Don't apologize because you ain't gonna backtrack on these words, right? You're
no. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry to be a party pooper. That's what I'm sorry about.
Yeah, you are pooping. You are pooping in the party, man.
But yeah. It's just not really for me. Anyways, after Wicked, I don't want to spend too much time. The Complete Unknown.
Yeah,
I think I definitely enjoyed it more than you did. I was never really bored by it, but very standard Hollywood musical biopic, just like. And when you're making a movie that basic about someone like Bob Dylan, it's just kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, do something interesting.
Yeah, my theme was sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I enjoyed the film. I'd watch it again. I just think like it wasn't saying anything. Right? Yeah. Like, if you have the life of Freddie Mercury, it's saying something, right? And I haven't seen the film, but I know, like, it's going to tell me something, right? Elton John is going to tell me something.
Sure. Yeah.
Respect. It tells me something.
This didn't have anything really interesting
to say. It didn't.
Aside from just, like showcasing, like, a transitionary period in, like, folk music. In America.
Yeah.
That's really it. Like, I get what they're going for by, calling it A Complete Unknown, and the big focus of the movie is how he can't maintain relationships because he won't open himself up and he won't let people know anything about him. But unfortunately, I want to learn more about him in the Bob Dylan movie, and we don't learn anything about him.
Yeah,
we're just watching a genius, and it's entertaining. I like listening to the Bob Dylan music in it.
Yeah,
I really loved Edward Norton's performance.
Yeah,
I was surprised by that character because I'm not really familiar with Pete Seeger.
I'm not familiar with anything folk.
So I thought that was a pleasant surprise. He was a very warm character, but yeah, very forgettable film for me. Not my favorite. Next is Conclave. I enjoyed Conclave.
Okay.
I did. It's just I didn't love it. I liked it. I really liked the performances. I just felt a lot of the messaging was a little bit too on the nose, and some of the dialogue it wasn't as subtle as I thought it could have been. Like, especially Stanley Tucci's character and Father Tedesco. Like, they're obviously they're diametrically opposed ideologies, and that's what the movie's trying to express, but I felt they could have been more subtle with those characters. And I didn't really like the score. The music I felt was a bit overbearing and a little bit too insistent on the movie's, the movie's message and feeling of importance,
Yeah.
It felt a little bit too much for me.
Okay.
But I still liked it. I really liked the story where it went, and I was surprised by the ending. I liked it.
Nice. I was just going to add, us being religiously inclined and connected to each other in that way. Mm-hmm. To me, it was a great lens into that. I felt like I was being spoken to of this is what we're going through kind of in our setting in a similar way. Yeah. How do we break through that? So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. No, it is, and it's very interesting to see the conclave, to see the process, and the various politics, the backhanded, back alley deals that's going on.
That Christian courtesy, God bless you. I hate that man.
Yeah. There are some very powerful scenes. There's that one character who was revealed. There's backstory with him, and he may have fathered someone's child. I thought that scene was very powerful.
Yeah. It's not going to be you, man.
Just seeing somebody's complete, their their dream shattered in front of them. I thought that was
Yeah.
like a really strong scene. But yeah, it's not my favorite. I enjoyed it. That's just where I place it.
For sure.
Right above that is I'm Still Here. Really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Story was a little bit basic for me, but
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
very well executed. I loved how intimate the camera was at the beginning, how we just feel like we're part of that family.
Yes.
In all those scenes, I felt
such a beautiful family, man.
Really, I felt connected to them. The performances from the children as well as the
so
adults,
good. Like it
so
felt
good.
like a documentary.
Yeah, they felt completely real. I was never like, oh, that's a child actor. I was like, these are the characters.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem for me, even though I did like the ending and what they were going for, I felt it just dragged on a bit too much. I felt like they could have tightened it up a bit, and it could have ended a little bit sooner.
Also, the adult actors for the kid characters were the adult actors I thought were really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I didn't notice. I don't remember if I thought. I don't remember them thinking. I don't remember thinking they were bad, but I also don't remember thinking they were like spectacular or anything like that. And then next, sorry, I keep getting distracted by like each review of the movie. I keep forgetting.
No,
I'm doing
it's
a
cool.
ranking.
It's all good.
So now we're entering the top 5. Nickel Boys is my number 5.
Nice.
Just a very bold movie. Based on what the story was, I was not expecting to really connect with it. And I don't really like, prison movies very much. I like Shawshank, of course, but like, I don't know, whenever there's these kind of movies, it's just hard for me to really get into them. And the way this one was shot, the cinematography, I think this movie should have not only been nominated, but won cinematography, personally. I just think it's so, like, intentional and, like, powerful. I keep using the word powerful, but, like, for this movie in particular, the choice to, like, shoot it from their POVs, I just thought was, like, a perfect choice for this kind of story. And I thought it was kind of brilliant. And just many great shot compositions, like we talked about with the ending.
Yeah.
Just a brutal ending, like in ways that I was not anticipating, and it really moved me. And then number 4, Dune Part 2.
Whoa,
I know,
that's low.
I know,
that's low.
I know. Look,
bro, if you have a Nora number 1, bro, bro, we have to have a talking outside this, bro.
All right. Look, I love Dune Part 2. Don't get me wrong. It's great.
But it's not even in your top 3, bro.
If it won Best Picture, I would have been totally happy with it. I love it. I think it's excellent. I think it's a huge improvement on the first one. I like the first one a bit, but I loved the second one in comparison.
Javier Bardem should have got a nomination, bro.
The only reason why it's lower, and this is completely subjective, this is just my own like tastes. I'm just not the biggest sci-fi fantasy guy, personally.
Bro, then what are you, bro? Right. You don't like musicals. You don't like sci-fi.
There are only 2 genres. You're correct.
There are only 2 genres in life.
No, look, it's when sci-fi is done, like when it's more grounded and a little bit more like reachable, I can connect with it more. But like,
this was grounded, bro. There was no lightsabers.
No, I know. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it was like totally like Star Wars, Star Trek.
I mean, there was worm piss, but that's that's.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's just one of those things where I don't connect with it quite as much, just because of all the new like made up culture, like and like aspects of it. I'm just saying why I don't like it as much. I'm not saying these make it bad.
So you're not down with the Fremen? You don't believe in the Lisan al-Gaib?
I think it's really interesting. I think it's a very cool like analog to cultures we have here on Earth, like in real life.
This is real, bro. The Quiz Haderach is real.
Like, I love Dune. You're trying to make me look like I hate Dune. I don't. No, I'm joking. Dune's great. It's just I love the first 3, the 3 ahead of it a little bit more.
Okay. Okay.
Number 3 is The Substance. Just such a blast. This one. You're gonna just be angry that any of these are above Dune. I think you'll be fine with my number 1. The Substance. I think we've talked a lot about it. It's just like a very fun movie. It's.
I'm waiting patiently.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not subtle at all. It's very much like in your face about what its messaging is, but I think it goes so far in that direction that it ends up being brilliant by the end. And the whole ending, I just like was like laughing out loud. I thought it was hilarious. I have a Nora at number 2.
Oh, good.
I love Nora. I think we've talked enough about Nora. I don't really have more to say other than I think it's hilarious and heartbreaking. I think the home invasion scene is so funny and just really well staged and just well directed, in my opinion. I loved it, and the ending's powerful. So number one's The Brutalist.
Wow. Wow.
I even surprised myself. I did not think I would really even like The Brutalist that much when I first saw it. It's not my type of movie. You know, it's so long, 3.5 hours. I'm a big fan of
20-minute intermission.
I'm a big fan of 90-minute movies. You know, get in, get out. But
you should watch more animation then, my friend.
Yeah, no, it's true. I love animation. I didn't watch most of them.
That's all good. You're good, bro.
Hey, though, Look Back. Look Back was one of my favorites of the year. We'll get to that, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Brutalist just surprised me. We got to the intermission, and I was shocked that it had been an hour and 45 minutes. I thought like an hour had gone by. It just flew by for me. I've been thinking about it a lot. I had a whole conversation with a friend of mine about it where we just really went into it and like the ending and like certain decisions that were made. It's one of those movies that really made me think a lot.
Yeah.
Really it stimulated me throughout. So much great cinematography, the music I loved, the performances. It kept going in bolder and bolder directions that I was not expecting and that weren't just shocking, like genuinely made me think a lot. It made sense for the movie.
Yeah.
Brilliant movie. I thought it was great. But yeah, sorry. That's my that's my
it's
top
all good.
10.
How about we get it right into your top 10 movies for 2024?
Let's do it.
All around.
All
and
right.
then I'll close it up.
Cool. You want to hear mine first, and then?
Yes.
All right. Cool. So my top 10. This is where it's a little bit. This one's way more subjective. Like I just ranked the best picture ones for which ones I kind of thought should win, but this is more like just how it made me feel and where I have it. So I have Nickel Boys at number 10. I feel like it's stronger than that, but just for how I felt, I have it here because I was just more entertained with the movies ahead of it. But loved it.
For sure.
Right. Oh God. Oh no. Oh God. Right above Nickel Boys, I have Dune Part 2, number 9. I know. But look, again, I loved it. But there are just movies I like more.
You can't say you loved it. You have it at 9.
I loved all these movies. In my top 10. I thought they were all great. The Substance at number 7. I have Furiosa at number Substance at number 8. Excuse me. Furiosa at number 7. I really loved Furiosa.
I forgot about that film. Mercy.
Very fun movie to me. Not what I was expecting. I have Nora at number 6. At number 5, I have Hundreds of Beavers. Have you seen this film?
No, I don't think I even heard about it.
It's on Amazon Prime. I think it even might be on YouTube for free, or at least it was at one point. But I know it's on Amazon. Definitely check that one out. Very, very funny movie. Very good movie.
Nice.
At number 4, The Brutalist. Talked about it already. Number 3, I Saw the TV Glow. I was very surprised by this one.
You watched that?
Yeah, I only caught it. I only caught it about like a month ago or so. I didn't watch it till far later, just because I heard so many mixed things about it, and people I knew saw it and were disappointed by it. So I just kind of forgot about it. Then I saw it on HBO or whatever, and just floored me. I just really, really liked it. Definitely not for everybody. Very, very different. Very experimental kind of choices in it. But I thought it was a really beautiful just expression of the trans experience. I thought it was great. And I have a lot more about it that I love, but I don't want to get too far in the weeds. I could talk about it a lot. Number 2,
that's awesome.
At number 2, I have Look Back, animated film, anime from Japan, based on a manga by a man named Tatsuki Fujimoto. He wrote a manga called Chainsaw Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
I've heard of Chainsaw Man.
Amazing. I love Chainsaw Man. It's one of my favorite comic books in general. And this movie was just devastating. That's all I'll say. It's also on Amazon Prime. It's only an hour long. It's like 59 minutes or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Brilliant, beautiful movie. Just, it made me cry. Like the only one I think of this list that made me cry this year.
Wow,
absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Amazing movie. And then number 1 is Challengers. I loved Challengers. This movie is right up my alley. Just the most exciting and energetic like filmmaking of the year to me. My favorite score of the year. I love the music in this movie. I listen to it all the time outside of like the movie itself. Rewatched it the other night just to be sure it was my favorite, and yeah, it's my favorite. It's not like the movie that moved me the most emotionally. I don't love like the characters like I want to hang out with them. The characters are pretty awful in this movie, but that's part of what makes it so much fun to me, and why I just love watching it. It's just so enjoyable to me.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Yeah, I like you. I'm still trying to like really hem down on that top 10 for me 2024. And there's films I'm forgetting that in talking to you, it's like, oh, it's coming back. Mm-hmm. I'll just keep it simple. Dune Part 2 is just number one. I just think like it showed religion in good and bad ways. It gave us a messianic story that wasn't boring.
Completely subversive, interesting.
Completely subversive, interesting. I don't know how the third one's going to finish, but like the second one was just amazing. Like the Hans Zimmer, I went to Hans Zimmer concert with Michelle, and just like, yeah, I just bathed in that music, bro. So, and just like the whole thing where he's walking in and he's trying to convince the Fremen, like, hey, I am the Lisan al-Gaib, and just having a crazy like revival moment essentially where he's just like, I know this and I know this and I know that, and they're like, Lisan al-Gaib, and I was like, bro, what in the world is happening? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, speaking of best supporting actor, Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem should have got a nomination.
Come on, or even maybe even Austin Butler, but I would still probably pick Javier Bardem.
No, Javier Bardem.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, sure. But Austin Butler was great too. But I'm giving Javier Bardem, right?
Easily,
like,
for sure.
The most recognizable meme of 2024.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dune Part 2.
Quite easily.
Yeah, my favorite movie of the year is Dune Part 2. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna still keep the substance in there. I'm gonna put in the brutalist just because it was just brutal.
Yeah.
And it taught me a lot of stuff, and the whole idea of just seeing someone go through that journey and then get devastated at the end was just crazy for me. Wicked is just a phenomenal film. It's just super enjoyable. I love it. It was like a party to go to, kind of like Barbie from the year before. And I think Hollywood and the world needs more movies like this. But then after that, for me, it's I got to put in some animation. So Inside Out 2, and then I put in The Wild Robot. I cry a lot in The Wild Robot. It's just it just hits me so hard.
Yeah, I still got to watch it.
Yeah, it's so good. And then I put in Civil War.
Okay.
Yeah, Civil War is just there. And then I'm going to put in The Fall Guy and Gladiator 2.
Really? Gladiator 2?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, we got to watch it together. Mm-hmm. And it's not perfect. I understand why I never got nominated. I feel bad for Denzel. I think his performance was good enough for a nomination. But to me, like I told you before when we left the theater, I think the message of what it was saying, like the hope of the democracy that we all hope for, that is fair for all people.
Yeah.
I love it when movies, stories inspire me to that kind of greatness. So, yeah, those are my top 10 2024 films.
Awesome. Sorry about that. I had a momentary distraction, but I got you. I caught
problem.
On that. Yeah. Oh yeah, great list, man. Very varied. I haven't seen a lot of them. I haven't seen The Fall Guy yet. That's one that I should check out. I was not impressed by the trailers, but I definitely got to give it a shot.
Yeah, it's just a good time. And also, again, Civil War doesn't get enough love, man. But Civil War was just.
I enjoyed Civil War. I didn't love it, but I had a really entertaining time, and it was like one of the most tense movies I watched all year for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't love it. Mm-hmm. It's just because it's so intense and it feels so personal.
Yeah.
Like when you see the place where you live devastated by Civil War.
Yeah, it is scary. Like, genuinely. For me, that movie, it's interesting because it feels like, because it's like an outside perspective, right? It's a British guy making this movie about America, and it feels almost like, because he likes horror, right? Alex Garland. So it feels like he's doing what if a movie set during an American Civil War in modern times would be a horror film, and I think that's kind of what a lot of think that's what he was going for a little bit in that movie, at least.
Yeah, and the thing too, like with that film, is that it had so much controversy because it subverted, right, everyone's expectations.
Sure.
Like so many people, like I guess people were expecting to have like a bloody fight between Democrats and Republicans, kind of like a modern Civil War movie, right? And it's like, no, I mean that's not the point, y'all. That's the whole thing. Like people talk about Civil War on Joe Rogan's podcast, saying, "Hey, I'm ready, bro. I'm ready." I'm like. Yeah. Like, no, we are not ready. It would be tragic. It would be horrible. No one would ever want to do it again. And to me, the realism of it and the subversion of it, and not giving people this entertaining, like Transformers version of what people were thinking, I thought was beautiful. And I applauded 24 for doing that, because it easily could have been like a $2 billion film, and it just was super gory, super bloody, and like an all-out war, and it politicized everything, and it made one side right versus the other. I'm glad it didn't do that.
Yeah, I found the movie interesting. It's definitely one that we could talk about a lot. There's a lot to dissect in that movie. I felt like for what the movie was about, it probably could have delved into those themes a little bit deeper. It was entertaining, but like, I don't know, I didn't feel like it had like that much to say, at the very least, on like American culture, or at least as much as it could have. But it's been a while since I've seen it. I'd like to rewatch it. I would rewatch it for sure.
For sure, man. For sure. All right. Well, that's the end of this episode, and I want to thank Carlos for being here to going over the post Oscars, and thank y'all for listening. Carlos, you have any final words? You want to plug yourself at all, or?
Not really. I mean, I don't really have much. I don't really have social media that much. I'm pretty much off Twitter now, or X, whatever. I'm not really using it anymore for obvious reasons. But yeah, just watch all these movies. You know, make your own opinion before you start talking about them. You know, everybody's got an opinion on Amelia Perez, but I bet most of them haven't seen it. So I'm like, hey, watch these movies. Watch these movies if you're going to be, talking about them so much.
Tell the truth, man. Tell the truth, right? Like,
watch Hundreds of Beavers, everybody. Watch that movie. I know that it's gotten some love lately, but it's a very, very low budget movie, and it deserves some love. It's very fun.
Nice. Also, if you do want to hear more from Carlos, he's a wonderful writer. His Nosferatu article is on www.mustycreative.com. Check it out, and I look forward to more stuff from Carlos.
Yeah, I think I already have my idea for what I'll write about in the next newsletter. I think we talked about it as well. Pretty sure I'm going with that.
Oh, yes. Very cool. All right. So we want to thanks to our monthly supporters for helping us make this episode of the Musty Creative Podcast possible. If you would like to become a financial supporter of the show, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/Musty Creative and help make this show even better. And that's all we have time for. Remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I feel like I gotta update that copy because Facebook, who's talking about Facebook anymore? Find us on YouTube. Now it's time to shower up.